it's Wendy. Welcome. Today I have a really cute card for you and we're just going to go through it pretty quick. It's super simple to do and I wanted to just show off this new Whisper White cardstock to you. It is thicker. It's a 100-pound weight Whisper White cardstock and I love it. So it's great for card bases. And then I'm using some of the Market Fresh, I think it's called Farmer's Market actually, Designer Series paper as my base layer here. And it's cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to layer it down using some snail adhesive. Just like that. And then I have a piece of Beautiful Blackberry Bliss that I'm going to use to layer down. And I'm using my Stampin' Dimensionals for that. And this is cut at 3 3¾ by 3 1/4, and that's just going right in the middle. And then we're going to do our stamping. So the stamp set I'm using today is called Market Fresh. It is new in the new catalog. If you want this stamp set, you can pick it up in the new catalog in my online store. We're going to use the grapes. And I live in an area that there is a lot of wineries, and so because of that I know that doing grape cards will be very popular here where I live, and I think this stamp set specifically is going to sell really well here because I live in kind of a farming community. So I'm using this stamp and I'm just stamping it down, and I use Stays On ink. And my Whisper White piece was cut at 3 1/2 by 3 inches. And it is obviously going to be layered over here. So now we're going to do a really fun technique. I'm going to bring in a tile. This is a piece of a tile. And I have my Stampin' Write markers here that I've chosen to use for this technique. And we are going to use some Blackberry Bliss. And I'm just going to color it right onto the tile. Wisteria Wonder. And I'm going to color it right onto the tile. Old Olive. Early Espresso. And Soft Suede. Then I'm using my blender pen to add color to all of these projects. And as you can see, I'm mixing the inks here. And I'm just going to add the darkest part to the shaded area of my grapes. So as you can see, the bottom parts of the grape has a little bit of shading. And then the top of the grapes is lighter. So I want to focus in on that as I'm doing my coloring. And then what I'll do is I'll just go in and start pulling the color and blending. Now the caution with a blender pen is you don't want to rub too much and go over and over and over, because when you do that, what will happen is your paper will begin to bead and peel. So to avoid that, you just have to be very careful about how much you go over this paper. Otherwise, you end up with a real mess. Okay, so that's my grapes. I just love how they look. And then the only thing you need when you're doing this technique is you really do need a piece of scratch paper where you can clean your blender pen off. As you can see, I've made several of these cards. And then I'm going to go into my green after I've cleaned my pen and just... And this really creates a very soft look, kind of a watercolor effect, without having to have the mess of watercolors. Okay, so now that I've gotten all my green base down, I'm going to go back in and darken up the center of some of these leaves in places that I want it to have a little more dimension and difference in color. Okay, so I'm going to clean. And then I'm going to mix together my soft suede and my early espresso, and I'm going to go ahead and color in my stem here. And now that I've already colored that in and I have some of the ink off of my blender pen, I'm going over the top of these little curly cues. And again, I'll start in the darkest where it's shadowed dark and pull the ink out for it to lighten. Going back in and just darkening in some of these areas. And then I'm just going to go around the outside of this with barely any ink on it. So it just gives it a very light shadow, not a lot, and I'm done. So now I just need to add dimensionals. Dimensionals are one of my very favorite things in the whole wide world for card making and crafting, because it does do exactly what they say. It gives dimension. And this will get centered right down. And I just really didn't feel like the card was finished at this point. It looked a little too plain for my liking, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to add. So I decided in the end to go ahead and add these cute candy dots. So these are Rich Razzleberry candy dots. They're found in the Brights candy dot pack. However, they go really well with the Blackberry Bliss. They're a little bit lighter, but not so much of a contrast that they don't look good with it. And then there's my card. So it's my Thanks a Bunch card, and this is the card that I made for people who are subscribed to My Paper Pumpkin. This month, every month I send them a thank you card because I appreciate anybody who orders from me or subscribes to me. So I went ahead and made these cards for My Paper Pumpkin subscribers this month. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and go to my blog and sign up to get free tutorials from me. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.